Is noise driving you crazy? Are you actually looking for a solution for this problem that actually works? Today we're putting two popular brands head to head in a noise management showdown, but which one will come out on top? Stay tuned and find out. Hey friends, I'm Mike, a late identified autistic adult, and today we're going to talk about not one, not two, but 4 products that claim to help manage anxiety and stress from unwanted noise and sounds. They work in different ways, and for the last week, I swapped my trusty AirPod Pros for Loop Engage 2 and Quiet 2 and Flare Calmer and Calmer Night. This review is not sponsored. I bought these with my own money, and if you'd like to support my channel, when you purchase any of these products, if you're interested in them, if you like them, well, there are referral links in the description box below that also do help out my channel. Thanks in advance. These are the Quiet 2s in mint green by Loop. The back of the box says that they reduce sound by 14 decibels. To put 14 decibels in perspective, imagine you're in your bedroom and somebody is having a normal, sort of human level conversation outside your door. Like they're talking to someone on their phone maybe, or just having a chat. That's about 14 decibels through a standard door. So if you're wearing these Loop Quiet 2s, like that, dead easy to put in, the conversation should sound about as loud as someone whispering from the same distance. It's not total silence, it's just more comfortable. You don't have to sleep with them on, but you know, you really could. Compared to the Loop Engage 2s, these are rated as 8 decibels, which means they let in about twice as much sound as the Quiets. The Engage 2s are designed for situations where you still want to hear what's going on around you, but it takes the edge off all the sound levels, more or less equally. They're aimed at being used all day. The circular handles themselves are shaped like a loop. I see what they did there. And they're available in different colours, although something I didn't realise until I used both of the models is that the body and circular loop of the Engage 2s is actually made of a hard plastic. This means that it's easier to pick up the Engage 2s and fit them inside your ears than it is the squishier Quiet 2s. But I like how the Quiet 2s are squishy. And they're so much more comfortable for sleeping in, as there's no unexpected sort of hard plastic pressure from sleeping with, well, a plastic blob in your ears. That's really thoughtful design. The ear tips of both the Quiet 2s and the Engage 2s are the same type of silicone, and you can swap them if you really wanted to. The body of the Quiet 2s is made of the same silicone as the ear tips. Speaking of ear tips, Loop also provide 3 extra sizes in the box, so there are 4 sizes in total. You are definitely going to find one that fits you. I also had a quick look at eBay, and there are plenty of people selling the ear tips that they didn't use, so you might be able to get some cheap spares that way. I find that the medium fits out of the box, but it's nice to know that I could go for a different size without having to pay extra for them. Inside the box you also get a manual. Spoiler alert, it shows you how to change your ear tips and put them in your ears. You also get a really handy looking carry case with a rubberized loop, and it also doubles as a sort of, you know, handy handy little stealth fidget toy. My expectations were reasonably comfortable. I'd be feeling aware that they're in my ears, and that one set would be very, very quiet and one set would be quieter. And in reality, I found that they work pretty much as advertised. And I did find that the sound deadening in this noisy Starbucks coffee shop was reduced by a small amount in the Engage 2s and by quite a lot in the Quiet 2s. I often find it difficult to match my speaking volume, especially in noisy environments. And if I were wearing earplugs like the Quiet 2s, there is a reasonable chance that I would be yelling at people instead of talking to them. My AirPods that I usually use have a fantastic mode for this, where they detect a conversation and turn off the active noise cancellation, so it's possible to have the ANC turn off and then back on again automatically afterwards. These earplugs only have passive noise cancellation, and you have to select the amount at the time you order them. But Loop do sell another model called the Switch 2. No, not that Switch 2, which is what Nina the Tea Fairy uses at her work. It has 3 selectable levels, which you can change by twisting the circular loop on the side. It clicks nice and confidently into place at each setting. Now, this does retail for over £50 UK, which is something like $1 billion US, and you're getting into active noise cancellation and Bluetooth headphone money. But the thing is, Nina can't wear headphones at work. But these are discreet and look like a small earring at most, or just a bit of an accessory, and they work somewhere between the Engage 2 and the Quiet 2 in terms of noise cancellation. Although they do have a hard frame, again, which means that it would be hard to sleep with them in, so you would need to buy the soft ones to sleep in as well, which is getting quite expensive. The AirPods 2 have a really hard, angled plastic design, and when they're in my ears, what it means is if I'm sleeping, I can be sort of stabbed or pushed, or I can end up with sort of pressure, causing pain on my ears. But also sometimes if you're wearing active noise cancellation to bed, what can happen is the microphone of that active noise cancellation system can sometimes get confused if it gets blocked or covered over, which means that you may end up with something like a high-pitched squeal coming from a speaker. It is common with active noise cancellation and sleep. You really don't want active and sleep, you want passive and sleep. So the AirPods, even though they're more expensive, they're not as nice as maybe the Loop Quiet 2 when you're sleeping. So it's an option that you might find helpful, and slightly more environmentally friendly than just wearing disposable earplugs. Ooh, look. The Flare Audio Calmers are similar, but instead of using passive noise cancellation, they are designed to reduce only certain stress-inducing frequencies. The frequencies they are designed to cut are between 2 kHz and 8 kHz. This is in the medium to high range. Think hisses, electronic sounds, or in the case of Starbucks, the sound of steamers and coffee machines. The sound of kids screaming, it just gets a little bit, it just takes the edge off a little bit. It attenuates those, but it doesn't do anything for levels. And I really like Flare's packaging. It's much less wasteful and plasticky than Loop's is. Inside the envelope is another little envelope containing the silicone flares, made out of the same material as the Loop ear tips, or as the Apple AirPods Pro silicone ear tips. You do get a little drawstring pouch to carry them around in, and I bought the Calmers in nude coloration. And they actually have several different colours to match skin tones, different skin tones, and when they're sitting in your ears, they are very discreet. Except perhaps this little string. It's for removal, and it sticks out a little. Is it just me, or does this remind you of a tampon string? Anyway, I also bought the Calmer Night, which are a little beefier and feel a little more solid. They're still an open design. You could stick them together and then use them as a drinking straw if you really want, if you really wanted to. Hang on, which way is going to show the light a bit better? But they are an open design. They do feel like they're not in there. But in reality, I caught myself catch them falling out of my ears more than once, as they don't really grip onto any portion of your outer ear. They're only held in place by the friction between the silicone and your ear skin. Ear skin? The Calmer's silicone is grippier than the ear tips of the Loops, which is good, but also very bad, and I will get to it in a moment. Flare Audio do sell alternatives to these, which have an insert for passive noise reduction, which are probably best for those environments where you might not want people to know that you're using them. Some workplaces, for instance. I couldn't get them to work well enough for me, as I was always worried about them falling out, but the biggest problem I had with them was bag fluff. Every time that you remove them from the bags that Flare provide, they get covered in little bits of bag lint that I'd rather not be putting in my ears. They get covered in little bits of bag fluff. This meant that when I was testing these, I would have to sit there and then rub off all the little bits of bag fibres each and every time. Flare Audio really do need to find a way to carry their little earplugs that don't shed fluff, right? Like this, yeah? Put them in there and then... Flare really do need to find a way to carry their earplugs that don't either shed fluff like Princess Polly in the springtime, or just reduce the grippiness of the material. It's a minor inconvenience, sure, but for those of us sensitive to textures or cleanliness, it can be a bit off-putting. I didn't notice that the flare calmer nights were more comfortable at night than the day ones, and the sound differences weren't easy to tell apart from each other in a blind test, but your mileage may vary. Maybe they're not fitting my ears properly as designed, who knows. Neither of these earplugs is going to give you the experience of taking your ambient noise down so that you feel like your noisy environment is actually on top of a quiet mountain. And neither of these products is going to replace my AirPod Pro 2s in my everyday carry, as its noise cancellation has been literally life-changing for me. Where these products might help you is if you have sensory processing challenges or misophonia, and it specifically sounds in the 2 kHz to 8 kHz range. So the S's, think about seashells by the seashore. If that annoyed you, pop your flares in, and they probably sound like he-hells, e-ells by the o-or. If that is you, then give the flares a go. I loved how you can wear them really discreetly, as long as you tuck the silicone tampon string thingy away, and how they didn't change much about how the ambient sound sounded, except for turning the trebles down a little. But my recommendation is firmly for now with the loops. People will know you're wearing them, but it's more socially acceptable than wearing headphones or earphones like the AirPods in some environments. If I were going to concert or the theatre, I'd pack some loops. If you were in education or work, these might be a sensible accommodation for you. I would love to have had these when I was doing my exams, right? You can't have headphones, but you could have earplugs. It's just, at the end of the day, it's just plastic and silicone, and it would have made all the difference in the world. These might well be a sensible accommodation, and you can select how much sound you want to reduce when you buy them, or buy all of them. I'm sure that's a bit of a marketing thing there. Or buy the loop switch too, like Nina did. There are links in the description if you'd like to check out pricing or colours or more details. Thanks for watching and for being here. Last week I talked about Autism Acceptance Day and burned some fake money. Should probably have pointed that out in a fireplace. It all makes sense. If you go give it a watch, it'll all make sense, I promise. And take care, and I'll see you next week. Bye.